Welcome to Game Club.
Brought to you by The Last of Us?
No,
Oh.
they are not an official sponsor.
Brought to you by Instagram/FNW Games.
Garrett, catch me outside.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot.
Okay, well, this is
I'm
part
out of
2.
here. I'm out of here.
Topic of the week is not The Last of Us, but Valve. And I'm going to say something that's going to be a little controversial for some because I know Valve has a lot of fans. I'm one of them. But I feel like we're seeing the peak of Valve this week, right? Valve has been in the news this week in 3 very specific ways, and it feels to me like peak. That doesn't mean that's an apocalypse scene like next year there'll be no Valve. Obviously, Valve's going to be around for a long, long time. But
so you think this is their iPhone 3?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, like,
Really?
So the first thing they said is they're not gonna in the foreseeable future they're not making any console games, which I think is even if that's true, you don't say that. You don't tell the other console makers that we're just shunning you, right?
Right.
You never close any doors, and I feel like, and they're saying, right, their defense is Gabe Newell is quoted saying that they're walled gardens, which I find that to be silly. I think Steam is a walled garden. If it's a closed market controlled by Valve, just like PlayStation's a closed market controlled by Sony.
They're all walled gardens.
Right, they're all walled gardens. The difference is it's not controlled by Valve. Right, that's probably the real thing here.
Yeah, but they have a great delivery system, so I could see why he is not too concerned about getting on consoles when he already has the design and the development and the way to get it to customers.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would purposely prohibit yourself or limit yourself. Because ultimately, they're a publisher, not a game manufacturer, right? So they haven't manufactured hardware. They've had other people manufacture hardware. I guess they manufactured a controller. They have a Valve controller, Steam controller. But outside of a controller, they haven't manufactured hardware. They've let Steam be licensed onto other people's manufactured hardware. But I think what happened was, I always kind of read between the lines that Valve probably tried to get Steam on some of the other consoles, and of course, why would those consoles want Steam?
Right.
And so I think that's what the real reaction here is that they can't sort of control the environment, and that's fine. That's one of the smaller pieces of news. Some other news, though, is that
I find it funny that you say that Steam has so many fans. I feel like they're just like one
Half-Life, man.
Yeah, they're like 2 steps away from being EA games. Like their games are good, but they don't seem to, like, they're people who like their games. They don't seem to really care whether or not they like them and if they want a sequel or not, or if.
To be a true Valve fan is to be okay with neglect, because Valve neglects its fans,
right?
And the fans just stick around. They're like, yeah, just neglect me more.
That's what I feel like. I try
to like Apple.
What's some of their newer games other than like? We mentioned some of their old ones.
Team Fortress is Team Fortress 2 is a thriving game right now. People play it.
Okay, well, it's been updated, but it was created 8 years ago. Yeah,
well, but again.
And by the way, I tried to play that, and it has the worst, like, what do you call the difference between a seasoned player and a new player? Do you have like a term for that?
Oh yeah, well,
the gap.
Yeah, the gap was so hardcore that I played 7 games, and I think in those 7 games I had 3 kills. Like. It's 7 matches, just frustrating. Like, I'm like, I'm done, and I just never played it again.
They're also the people behind Counter-Strike, by the way, which is another big thriving game.
Right.
It's a niche community, but it's not a small niche, right?
Day of Defeat, dude. I used to love that game. I can't believe that they still support that.
I don't know if they support it.
Okay.
I haven't heard of any support. Half-Life, obviously. Left 4 Dead, another big one.
Oh, okay.
Portal, I love Portal.
Right.
And Team Fortress, like I said. So
that's their like only games, kind of, essentially.
And Dota.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know they're connected to Dota. Are they directly the developers, or are they more like a publisher? Or
it's listed as a Valve game.
Oh, okay. Really, Dota?
So it says here.
All right. Okay.
But Google lies sometimes, so who knows?
Yeah, it wasn't on the Valve website.
So, and they're notorious. Yeah, Dota 2. Yeah, Dota 2. Look at that. I think they didn't make the first Dota. I think the first Dota was more of a fan-made thing.
And if we're wrong, you can tell us. So tell us in the comments what you think about Dota and who made it.
Yeah, but Dota 2 was definitely had a hand in. Anyways, and they're notorious for never making a third game in a series. Half-Life 3 continues
I don't
to
get
be
that. I don't get that. I played Half-Life 2.
absent.
We were all very excited, and they kind of said, "Well, this will be kind of shorter." I mean, it was dropped in 3 episodes. Half-Life 2 was, but
the third episode never came out.
Does New Will?
Was that what it was?
Yeah. So then they're like, okay. When they announced Half-Life 2, They had said it's going to come in 3 episodes.
And then Half-Life 3.
And then Half-Life 3. Well, episode 3 of Half-Life 2 never came out.
Yeah, that's
and Half-Life 3
Newell-
continues to not exist.
Did Newell ever say anything on why? Or does anybody ever
They
talk about why they
never
haven't?
comment on it.
So weird.
I mean, basically, people
That's terrible
people who
practice.
work at Valve or have worked at Valve have said that the way things work out at Valve is that there's not much of a hierarchy. Obviously, Gabe Newell is in charge, but everybody else is pretty much even. And it's up to you what you want to work on. So if you want to start a project, you've got to convince other people to join your project in the company, or other people have to convince you to join their projects.
Do you have
And
to
then-
get it greenlit? you could
Right,
say?
like secret. And then what happens is once the product starts to evolve into something that can be judged, the sort of the rest of Valve decides whether this is worth pursuing. So there likely has been many Half-Life 3s that have like come to alpha, or not quite alpha, but a playable form, and then it didn't meet the muster that the community expects. And
I
they got
wonder what
shut
its
down.
Half-Life is.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's like the go-to, like, don't expect too much from a gaming company because they'll always let you down.
Because Half-Life
Like,
3.
why do you want to be known for letting your fans
Well,
down?
guess what happened? Steam happened. Like, so much
Yeah.
money is pouring in through the Steam valve that
Okay.
pun on pun that there's no imperative. There's no sort of driving nature.
Really though, can you imagine announcing Half-Life 3, selling it on sale for Steam for $19? Like, that's a quick like $600 million.
Yeah.
You know?
So another thing here is they announced that they're working on that they still believe in VR, and they don't believe VR is ever going to come down in price, because they said that even though chips come down in price, VR needs to always be on the cutting edge, so it's going to stay in cutting edge prices. What VR needs is
Doesn't
games. So they're working on
make any
3 full-fledged VR games.
Half-Life?
Well, that's my question. What do you
Oh.
think those are? It's got to be Portal 3, right? There's got to be, maybe not be
Portal 3D.
Yeah, well, they're all 3D.
Heyo.
Oh, okay.
Portal VR.
4D.
Portal VR 3D.
Oh, there you go.
VR 3D too?
Portal Verd.
I think that Portal has got this universal appeal that
Yeah.
it would take VR. It would even take it to people who like Portal and aren't even aware that VR video games are being made. And Portal 2 might have been like one of the last games they liked. And so all of a sudden they drop that in VR and it says, oh, I guess I am interested in VR games because Portal 3 is in VR and I love that game. So
Yeah.
that's a great move if they do that. Half-Life 3 just seems unlikely for the sake of just keep it as a butt of every joke, I guess.
So continuing my logic here, why I think we might be witnessing right now this week the peak of Valve. Again, not the destruction, just the peak of it. First of all, straight up saying no console games.
Yep.
Saying we're making 3 full-fledged VR games. That's quite an investment.
for $2,600 systems or
Yeah.
whatever they say they should cost.
When VR seems to be on the ropes, right?
So
that-
Steam makes them that much money that they can go ahead and just sink
Oh,
it
you have
into these
no-
3 like boats with a huge hole in it that is virtual reality.
99% of PC games are also on Steam, where most people buy those PC games.
So Steam
And
has
every
a monopoly.
Yeah, every time
Oh, yeah.
one of those games is sold on Steam, they're getting some piece. I don't know what that piece is.
Yeah, but
But it's good to be the publisher. Right?
because like 3 full-fledged games, that's just a giant waste of cash at this point, right?
Well, they could be $10 games. Oh,
But they said full-fledged games.
Right,
Like
so-
it brings to mind a AAA game,
Well.
like which comes with cost.
Because nobody's gonna buy the headset because headset purchases are like, even the article talks about how sales are super low.
Right.
So do people think, or so is there a line of reasoning that their game is gonna be so good that you're gonna go invest a month's worth of rent?
Nintendo demonstrates that there's 2 ways to get a lot of sales. On one, put your product at, you can go the PS4 route or the Wii U route, and this is what I mean by that. PS4 has over 50 million units out there in the wild, which means if you release a game on the PS4, you have up to 50 million possible purchasers. So there's so many people in that space, you have a good chance of selling to at least 1 million of them, right? That's one way of going about it. The other way of going about it is going to a platform that has so few games on it that all the people that do on that platform are hungry for a game. So there's only about 13 million Wii U's out there, but there's hardly any games. So if you put out a good game on the Wii U, you got about 10 million people who are going to buy your game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that that's sort of the logic with the VR.
They
right?
want to be the VR game people buy when people go buy a VR system.
Right. right? So there's so little competition that
true.
all those VR owners are hungry for your full-fledged
All
game.
9 of them.
Yeah.
I think they should probably make a game.
All
they
the
should
Chris
bring
Carmans
back
out
Echo
there.
the Dolphin, and you are a dolphin in VR. You swim around. I think they should take my advice.
Now, the third reason why I think we might be seeing the peak of Valve is that they are ending Steam Greenlight. So for those who don't know, let's say you're an indie developer, you wanted your game on Steam. One way of going about that without getting a publisher to back you, one way of going about that would be to go on Steam Greenlight, present your game, get it on there. There might have been a small charge to get on the Greenlight,
Is
but
it playable at that form? You're bringing in playable.
it's either playable or it's close. Or there's the idea is you got to convince the community to vote for you. That's what it's really about.
So it's not videos, it's not YouTube videos.
Right, and so the Steam community votes, and if you get enough votes among the Steam community in Steam Greenlight, then Steam goes ahead and puts you onto the main Steam page, right? And some games get actually revealed for the first time once they get through Steam Greenlight. Some have already pre-existed, and Greenlight gets them onto Steam, so they get better sales.
Okay.
But either way, it's through Greenlight. Chris, you as well as me, we've been following the Facebook community, the indie game chat community, and what's your impression of how things are going over there now that Greenlight's getting shut down?
It's a lot of scrambling. Everyone's trying to just. Nobody's sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're
and part of
freaking
that
out.
is because the amount hasn't been set yet or announced.
Right, so
It's
the
frustrating.
Greenlight's getting put down, and the new thing replacing it is called Steam Direct, and the idea is Steam is just saying, you're going to pay us a certain amount of money.
This is your fault, James.
Yeah.
You're always talking about all
Curation.
the trash on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
You're always going on and on about there's so much trash on Steam. They need to do something to fix it.
How many
It's all
games get
James's fault.
greenlit? Like how many games are we talking?
Well, Steam has a lot of indie games on it.
Oh, so okay, here's my question, and you probably don't know this, but like, what's the potential revenue for a game? Okay, it gets greenlit. Bam! How many people are going to see that game?
Well, that's like this was always my argument is that so much stuff releases on a daily basis on Steam. It's like how can any cream float to the top, right? Among the small games, big games, big publishers, they just probably pay Valve directly some amount of money to get right on the front page and seen. But those smaller games that make it through Greenlight, it's really hard to fight to get the public attention. So that was my complaint, and that's why some people might be happy that Steam Greenlight's going away because it was allowing so much stuff in. Whereas the new thing is going to be Steam hasn't decided on what the cost is. They say it could be anywhere between $100 and $5,000, and you pay that amount of money and you'll get onto Steam. And then there's ways of making that back. Like if I remember correctly, and if this is slightly wrong, I apologize. But let's say it ends up being $500. So you pay your $500, you get on the Steam, and you don't pay Steam any money for your sales until that $500 is made up, and then whatever that Steam charge is, that percentages that they usually take out, that equity that they take out from the game, then they start taking it out once you've made your $500 back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I would totally do that.
Yeah, it's not bad, but the question is, what if it's like $5,000?
Well, yeah, I mean,
and the thing is, a lot of indie games are being made by hobbyists. Now, I kind of want those hobbyists getting weeded out. Honestly, there's a lot of people who are making trash
Yikes.
games just because it's like throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks, right? Whereas I kind of want Steam to be more curated.
Do you think
Sure.
that that's being weeded out? I mean, $5 or $6 is not even for someone's hobby. I know people who spend that much in 1 month on video games, and they're just a college kid. So
Well, because I think there was a lot of people who are just pumping stuff out onto Steam, just hoping to get any
yeah,
sort
but
of
Greenlight
sales.
does seem like a curated system.
let's turn that into a GIF.
Not by Steam, but by the consumer. And now
Right.
Greenlight is like anybody with, well, I mean, if it's $5,000, that's one thing, but anybody with a credit card loan can get their game on there.
So
Pay to
do you
play,
think
baby.
that? So
Pay
you
to
think
play.
the reverse is going to happen here?
I do. Well, I think the potential for that is there for sure. Because
Yeah.
I just like, man, that's someone get their tax return, get their game on there. Like, their game could be trashed.
I will tell you this. I think the people in the Facebook indie chat, they're freaking out. They think that this is
Yeah,
an
but
apocalypse
people-
scenario for them. They're
Yeah.
probably overreacting
Yeah,
some.
they don't like change.
Yeah, nobody likes change, I guess. So what do you think? Do you think this is? I mean, when we add these three things together, shunning consoles, doubling down on a sort of fumbling platform, which is VR right now, and then also killing a beloved program, Steam Greenlight, and replacing it with something that's controversial. Like, are we seeing the peak of Steam, or is this just another week for them? What do you think?
Steam kind of reminds me, and people are gonna probably send death threats, but reminds me of Microsoft, because of the just the mass adoption that they have. It's the only way that I want to continue to get my PC games, just because it's bam, $4, bam, sale, huge sale. It's just so easy. 2 clicks and it's on my system. Microsoft releases crap all the time, and people still.
But Microsoft has had a basically. Just a couple of years ago, Microsoft fumbled the big reveal of the Xbox One.
Right.
And they've been suffering ever since. I mean, right now, PlayStation 4 outsells Xbox One over a 2-to-1 ratio.
Oh, by the way, I was playing 3 Xbox Ones last night, TV, 1 TV, 2 TV, trying to get together. Absolute nightmare. The games would drop, get kicked off, and the joke of the night was man, I wish we had 3 PS4s, because at least we could play together.
Chris, do you hear that? People complaining about Xbox connectivity and wanting a PlayStation to replace it. Have you ever heard such a thing in your life?
I ran 4 Xboxes together in a trailer, so I don't know what you guys are doing.
I mean, it works most of it. We couldn't play Titanfall 2 the way that we wanted, because it wouldn't let us invite a third person. But then it did, and then the game wouldn't start. Just crap like that.
But Titanfall 2 was having server issues last night.
Okay, well then who makes that?
Because I was having
Who
trouble
makes
with
Titanfall 2?
EA.
Okay,
nobody likes
EA.
EA.
Oh, okay. So I think this the peak. Did Microsoft have a peak?
98.
Yeah, well, the Xbox 360 was their peak. They were on top of the console world with the 360.
Yes, they were.
The PlayStation, Sony was catching up, was trying to get ground back, and everything flipped with the reveal of the PS4 and the One.
Don't you feel like PS2 was better than the original Xbox, and then Xbox 360 was not better,
not
but
as a hardware
market share,
yeah.
So it's just they're kind of going
PS2
back and forth.
is either the second or first best-selling console in history.
So yeah, I think they could peak. I think it won't really affect them maybe that much.
Yeah, so you think this is just another week for Valve?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Right.
They're too big to fall.
Too big to fall, huh?
I think with Valve, things are not always as they seem.
I think here's
waiting
personally
to
what I
use
think.
that.
And
Oh yeah, you should see when he was looking up Steam puns over here.
well, this is what I think, and I think
That was
Chris.
good, though. You
I think
can't-
Chris
you can't
could follow
deny
up with
that.
this thought. Chris, we were looking at this. I think with Steam upsetting indies like this, there's other people waiting in line to be the new indie Steam.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Do you think with the idea of excluding developers that'll hurt their self-esteem? Yeah, man.
So that's Josh's view.
I contribute nothing to this.
That's fair.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah, that's okay. People appreciate the puns, though.
All right. Well, I guess that ends our conversation. That's the topic of the week. If you liked this video, this conversation, or even if you didn't like it, please like, subscribe, and share. And find all of our information in the description. See you later.
$10 if you can give me a better Steam pun.
Nope.
All right. You heard it here. $10.
Josh is the one who made that promise, not FNW, not Game Club, definitely not James Ewell.
As always, brought to you by YouTube/FNW.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know.